Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. A quick heads up, we may have some technical issues. I think both Liam's and myself's internet it could be on the fritz this afternoon.
It's almost as if time's been messed up and everything's all over the place.
Oh, it was going too well for too many weeks. But here we are. This is our regular video series where we talk about Doctor Who episodes, specifically New Who, and specifically in chronological order from 2005 onwards. Although we should have done them in actual chronological order when the stories like are set.
God.
Oh, what a twist that would be.
I wonder what episode this would have been. What episode we'd be covering right now if we'd done that.
I bet there's like it would be some weird coincidence that it's the same episode and we were just in the middle point.
Probably, yeah.
You never know. But yes, we have now watched 6 full series of Doctor Who.
My
because
God.
we are on episode 13 of series 6, the last episode of series 6, The Wedding of River Song. Not to be confused with The Husbands of River Song. That's in a couple of seasons' time. This is the wedding. This is the wedding.
That's in 4 years' time.
Oh God!
Hopefully, it won't be that long for us.
It's only two seasons, isn't it? Is it 2?
It's after season 9.
Oh, so it's 3. Okay, not too bad then. Isn't it the holidays special, the Christmas special, after they had no series?
No, it's the same one.
The other way around.
It's the other way around. Return of Doctor Mysterio is the one after they had no series.
There we go. That's what I'm thinking of. And then it's one before that.
Yeah.
SOS. It's okay. That's why we're doing this, so that we can relive these episodes. Yes. So this episode is the finale. Time has gone awry. Because
when doesn't it? Am I right?
Turns out the Doctor wasn't killed at the edge of the lake like he was supposed to, and because it was a fixed point in time, everything's gone wrong, and the Reapers, everything's gone wrong, and there's no Reapers. I was like, if there's ever an episode that could like bring them back in, I was like, it's this one. But just have them be there instead of the pterodactyls. Be like, Reapers are pests, do not feed, and then just have that. Just have.
It's not about trying to fix the problem that way.
No, I know.
And also, different writer, different showrunner. Yeah. They never reused it again in the same era where they were introduced anyway.
No,
when
exactly.
the Master did his shit.
Although different writer, different showrunner, from the same series, Charles Dickens is back in this episode. So.
Oh my God.
So but yes, time's gone funny because the Doctor didn't die, and he basically needs to make it not funny anymore. And to do that, he coincidentally runs into River, I guess, and they fix it.
Yeah,
is that right? What did you think? What did you think of the episode?
I really liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I loved it. Particularly the first half. I thought the world building and everything was great, but we'll get to that. And yeah, I think it's a fresh change to not have like a classic series villain be like the main threat in the finale. It's nice to not be like, oh, it has to be epic scale and end of the world as we know it kind of stakes, because it's the end of everything everywhere all at once is all I could think of. And I was like, let's should have called it that. So ahead of its time, this episode. But I like that they kind of, like such a big deal like the Doctor dying. It's a very personal story. It's a very character-driven finale, which I think is a nice change of pace from the past 5. And I like that they did something very different with that. Series 6 was like the first series to really subvert the storytelling that we'd come used to in the new series at that point. And yeah, I think it reached a really nice, well-rounded conclusion with like obviously the teasers of what's still to come. I think all the characters had some really decent moments in there, some good laughs, some emotion in there as well, particularly with like the Brigadier stuff and the Doctor trying to like accept his impending doom and working out why he has to go, all of that jazz. And yeah, I think it ties up series 6 really nicely, and I had a really, really good time with it.
Yep, I think that's fair enough. I did enjoy it. I think for me it's probably a bit too messy. In terms of sort of how it tries to like weave everything together, but we'll come on to that. I still had a lot of fun with this episode, purely because again, Doctor Who isn't bad. You might not like an episode, but it's not bad. And
he says, messaging me 0 out of 10.
yeah, yeah. It's because there's no Reapers in it though. That's not the same thing.
When you said that, I was like, so Father's Day is the only one worth noting, and even then you gave it like a 6.
Even then I didn't like it, yeah.
Doctor Who should be one of your least favorite shows.
Oh yeah, but no, I did like it. I do have some issues, but yeah, there's plenty in this to enjoy and plenty to like, which we all come on to. As always, we have positives and negatives, normally 3 of each. I think I went first last time, so you can go first this time.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I mean, I'm assuming we're doing positives first, right?
Oh, I mean, we can throw a curveball in if you want.
Here's my first middling one. No. My first positive is the setting and the world building.
That's kind of my one as well.
Yeah.
I've just put sheer madness as my first one.
From the cameos in it as well, getting Charles Dickens in, getting Manaketh the Silurian from Series 5 back in it, you know, Winston Churchill.
And Winston Churchill.
Not really a cameo for Winston, obviously. He's a beefier role than that. And all of that. And then the visuals of like having the pterodactyls coming after that stupid kid in the park. Look, you deserve that. Anyway, they didn't get you, sadly.
We didn't see it. Is it not on screen?
We didn't see it. Certainly not on screen in the novelization.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I liked everything that, and you know, the train going into the pyramid, which is kind of like a big iconic shot from the trailer for the second half of the season. All the hot air balloons flying about, all that different, all the time happening at once. You know, just the idea of Charles Dickens on BBC Breakfast is hilarious. Also made me sad because Bill Turnbull died last year. F in the chat for Bill. But yeah, I really enjoyed that, and yeah, just kind of the whole everything happening at once. It's again one of those things like, why has Doctor Who not really done this before, when it's the perfect show to do everything going wrong with time in such a way that, you know, it's all kind of happening together. So I really enjoyed that as like the setting for it in a series as kind of wacky and timey as Series 6 has been. I think it makes perfect sense that is the end point of it as everything comes undone, and the idea of like breaking the fixed point causing all of this, you know. I'm sure they'll never break a fixed point again in the 50th anniversary special. Definitely not laying some groundwork here.
They definitely don't you know, think they're going to break a fixed point and then retroactively be like, actually maybe we should.
Definitely not. Oh, Doctor Who. So yeah, I loved everything with that, and just, you know, even just to look at as like, this is a really interesting place to find ourselves. And you know, it's set on Earth, but not really one as we know. It still kind of somehow feels like an alien world in a way. And I really like that. And you know, setting the main base in the second half of the story and the pyramid and that little scene on top of that, and seeing all the visuals of it, all really cool. And I liked kind of being in this place of the multiverse of madness, basically, and kind of living in that and seeing what the characters were getting up to in it, and everyone with the eye patches, stuff like that. Just some really balmy, bonkers imagery that only Doctor Who can get away with. And yeah, I really ate it up, and I very much love that. And even the world building in like the first half, where it's basically just about the Doctor, you know, because it's kind of like Doctor centric for the first half. You know, Amy Roy don't show up for like 20 minutes or something, and you know, him going to playing the live chess with Mark Gatiss. So I guess the writer of The Unquieted Dead is in this episode. So Charles Dickens connection.
Yeah, that's true.
And like the idea of live chess and everything, then the catacomb where they get Dorian from with all the skulls. Him in the bar when he meets the Tesseract man again, and he's reading the Knitting for Girls magazine, which is hilarious. And even something as simple as when we get to the end of the episode, it's like, God, it's so bizarre to see the Ponds just in their house. I'm like, oh yeah, they have a house now. So little things like that. I think the episode visually and in terms of like the setting for the story made a lot of sense, and it was really fun to be part of.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that's why it's sort of my one as well. Is that it's so like strange, and there's just so much going on that you're like, oh yeah, you could spend a whole, maybe we'll come on to it, but you could spend a whole episode like in that world discovering things and doing all this kind of thing. And you can definitely tell that's where the budget went for this episode, was in making sure that it all looked believable, and you know, fair enough, because it does. And you know, it's something that we kind of got a tease of when we did the Parallel Earth in Series 2, but it's never been explored to the extent of but this is what it could look like in a different reality kind of thing. And I'm
Not
glad
just
that they,
blimps in this parallel world.
yes, exactly. Instead of having blimps, which makes sense, we'll just attach the balloons directly to the car. Easy.
Because it's from history, Connor.
Yes, well, so were blimps. So I don't know what you want.
It's because everything ever did blimps is like a
Yeah,
parallel
true.
world thing.
Yes,
sci-fi.
yes, exactly. And that's why it was recognizable. That's why Mickey goes, oh, like parallel, you know. But yes, I like it. I want to see more of these kind of things because they're so weird and outlandish. And it wouldn't surprise me if that kind of thing happens a bit more with the way that pop culture is going towards the whole multiverse thing with a number of different properties doing
Yeah,
it.
I'm not already sick of it. That's for sure.
No, I think it can be done well and it can be overdone. I think the way it's done in this one is enough because you're only there for the episode. You're not there constantly. You're not worried about, oh, but that could come back. You know, I'm not worried that Winston Churchill from this universe is going to reappear next season, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It'd be a real big twist if he did, but I don't think
Talking
he's
about
gonna.
his downloads.
Yes, exactly.
What you downloading, Winston?
Oh, I don't know what he'd be downloading. I don't know what kind of music he'd be into right now. WAP. That's what he's downloading.
What an image.
Oh, but yeah. What's your second positive then?
Let's have a look. Amy killing Kavarian.
Yep.
Love that scene so much. It's such a good Amy moment. It feels like, yes, finally, like that's the moment she deserved to get. And I like that they had a moment kind of addressing like all the shit that Kavarian kind of put Amy through in this season, and you know everything they kind of lost. It was really nice that we do have a moment where it's like, you know, she gets her own back for that. And it's not just like it's a cool punch the air kind of moment. They then explore the fact that Amy feels bad about it when everything gets reversed, and it's a real kind of character moment. She's like, you know, I still did that in cold blood, and she, you know, she very much recognizes that that was something that she did, which puts her in, I'm sure, and a lovely state of mind. But at least it's Christmas next.
Yes,
Sadly, it's Christmas
fun.
next. But yeah, I really liked that kind of moment for her, and the whole River Song didn't get it all from you, sweetie. Such a good moment. I love her just sticking the eye patch back on, and Kavarian was
screams
oddly,
as they walk down the corridor.
Yeah, Kavarian was oddly a lot of fun in this one. Everything she said, she's like, "Why won't you just die?" Like she was just so fed up and so done because her plan had kind of succeeded, but kind of not. So she's just kind of flirting about, just vibing, and then she dies. Like, what a way to go! I'd let Amy kill me. So, you know,
yes, fair enough.
What a dream. But yeah, I very much enjoyed that whole scene. It just felt like, you know, you think of Amy in the orphanage in Day of the Moon to now. Feels like a very earned and deserved moment from her. And yeah, I like that they then kind of had a character building moment from it later on where Amy still kind of thinks on it. So yeah, great scene. Love it.
Yep, I think that's fair. I can't really argue that point. I like it. It's the fact that she comes back as well. Like Kavarian's just gonna be left there, and then she sort of was, hang on a second, I need to A, save my husband that's not my husband, and B, get rid of this woman, and then I can leave happy. And you know, it does work. I do like you know, the line's great. I think it finally sort of hammers home that her and River are related, because obviously you don't necessarily get that too much from other than the characters saying we're related. You don't necessarily see that, but the fact that they sort of add this in gives you that link, and it makes it more believable, which I do like. And
it's a tragedy of it. You can't really see that they're related.
No, and that's the whole point. But I'm glad that there's still some things that, you know, you can see them linking, and then it also leans into the when she comes back and visits and she says, oh, all these things. It's like, okay, so they now
there
they
is
know
something
they
in their nature that I like.
Yeah, it is fun. So your final positive then, because that was my second as well.
Oh really? Huh. Who'd have thought? I mean, I've gone basic bitch again, and it's Matt Smith.
Okay, fair enough.
Mainly for like the first half of the episode where he's, you know, it's all on his shoulders basically. He's carrying the emotional baggage and weight of everything. But he can still have like interesting relationships. You know, I really liked the kind of dynamic with him and Gantok, aka Mark Gatiss. you know, just that kind of initial thing between them. So he just works well with everyone, I think.
I'm sure.
And then obviously,
I'm sure Mark Gatiss will never appear in Doctor Who again after this one, though. You know, it's sort of
definitely
his
not.
last time.
No. This is his third role, including voice work in Doctor Who, so it's never going to be never going to happen again. Definitely not. But anyway, yes. What was I talking about? Matt Smith, as I'm always talking about Matt Smith.
Not Mark Gatiss, Matt Smith.
But yeah, I just liked him bouncing off of him, and also him and Dorian. I think they had a great back and forth as well in there, and that provided some, you know, moments of levity and lightheartedness as the Doctor's trying to ignore what's going on, really, and kind of a defense mechanism. And then he gets the call about the Brigadier, and you know, to see a Doctor who never even met the Brigadier kind of react to his death like that, and it's still like, my heart, my feels. It's a really well done performance, and that's the thing that kind of accepts, like, okay, it's time to die now. You know, if someone like the Brigadier's got to go, then I have to go too. So yeah, that was a really lovely performance from him as well. And the awkward moments are like when he's trying to set up Amy and Rory all over again. I enjoy that awkwardness. It's cringe, not cringe that I have to watch through my fingers, like The Apprentice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I very much enjoyed everything that Matt Smith brought to the table in this episode, as he always does. He kills it. And yeah, great balance of like the humor and hijinks. Again, like in Closing Time, not to that degree, obviously, because this is a bit more the tonally serious episode. But he still has those moments. But you know, him kind of dealing with his impending death and everything that comes with that, kind of feeling the weight of the universe's love for him in a way. He does it really well. Yeah, he's great. You may have noticed that I quite like Matt Smith. So yeah, he's good.
Fair. Yep. I think the only thing that's not good is his hair.
What do you mean?
Definitely in that one. Definitely is that little dog. Oh, but I think, yeah.
Matt Smith is the only person who I think looks older when he's shaved. Somehow. I look 12 when I shave my beard. He shaved and I'm like, you look older.
Yeah.
Like, just
the longer hair. Yeah.
Like,
the mullet.
It's okay when he has the beard as well. But without
you know. I think that's fair.
No wonder you have to kill you now. No one can see you like that.
It's time to go. Just get rid of it. But yeah, I do agree. He's not one of my main positives, but yeah, he's definitely him, and you know, the supporting cast in general, I think are, as always, we've really hit a home run, I think, with the casting in this second half. Wouldn't say there's been anyone that's been bad, not even terrible, but bad. I think everyone's sort of been, you know, good if not great. And it's very for a show that has a budget of the Doctor Who and, you know, is a sort of staple. It's very rare to have a run of episodes where there's not an actor where you go, ooh, maybe they shouldn't have been in there. But I think we put it out. Shame it will end next week, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, never mind. So my sort of final positive is the silence, or the species that we call the silence, not necessarily the movement of the silence.
The creatures are like the silence, as in like SILENTS, isn't it? Oh which unfortunately also sounds like silence, but
yeah, funny.
Those creatures are called silence. TS.
Okay, well, there we go. I think they're great. I think they just look gross when it zooms in on them on the roof when they're all like slimy on it. I was like, oh, no, thank you.
That's how they had them in the Doctor Experience, wasn't it? Hung upside down on the ceiling like that.
Oh, it's just horrible. And when they're breaking out of their little cages, their little glass bubbles, like, it's all great. I think they're not used very much in this episode. You know, yeah, which is fine. I'm glad they do make an appearance twice more in the show following this. One in Matt Smith's last one, and then in the prison. I'd love for them to come back. I think there's still so much more you could do with them. They're such a cool design. They're so creepy. They, you know, everything about them I love, and I think that
this is just like one bad batch of them. For all we know,
exactly.
Most of them are nice and friendly.
So because it's a species that were,
and they clearly have the costumes, so why not?
Exactly. So they're clearly about, and I do really like them. And it says a lot that they're not in this episode much, but I think they still stand out. The way they sort of come in the door and they sort of tell Rory how to die. You know, you keep dying, and we're gonna keep killing you, mate. I really like that. And just their voice, it's all great, and the way they sort of utilize the eye patches as well, and turned it against, and their breakout scene is fantastic. And I just cannot give them enough praise. So you know what? I think that's a lot of people say the Weeping Angels are probably Moffat's like top tier best villain, but I would put the Silence above it purely for how they look and sort of the originality of them. That they're based off the cliche alien face, but I think maybe it's how sparingly they're used. They're not oversaturated, and therefore you like them more. But I just think they're such a cool design that they're great, and I want more of them. So please bring them back. That's it. That's all I want. And you could retroactively add them into every single story as well, like they did with the series opener, and be like they were always there. If you want to do an arc where the Doctor was doing something, you'd be like, oh.
Like in the fourth Doctor Who adventure game, the Gunpowder Plot one, where you could just randomly find them. Oh. Sometimes they just spawn in, and they just be watching you, and it's terrifying.
That's horrible. No, thank you.
I look forward to them coming back after Doctor Who fans saying they wanted it to come back, and then them complaining about what they did with them when they come back.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Always the way. So did you have any other additional positives?
I did. The Brigadier tribute, obviously, I thought was really well done. That was very wholesome. I can't explain it. I really love the Amy Rory subplot with those two in parallel.
Yeah,
I just think it's really wholesome and fun. And Amy just coming and just shooting all of them's great.
Yeah.
The idea of like the universe wanting to save the Doctor, and like, oh yeah, of course we'll help if the Doctor's dying, and that goes across all space and time and past and future. The idea of that I think is really cool. Coming to his aid. Especially when we've had the Doctor kind of assembling an army himself in Good Man Goes to War, and then coming back to the end of the series, the fact that he has a bigger army on his side than he even imagined, and that's kind of being River's argument. Like he wants him to know that before he dies. It's very cool. And then the kind of Pond family scene right at the end with River telling Amy and Rory about what happened, and them just kind of chilling. Very, very wholesome stuff. I like, again, that's kind of almost like the reward for them after all this hardship that they've gone through. There are still little moments where they can just be a family together like that and hang out. And continuity wise, I think it's cool that they kind of had River. It could have been any random time, but I like that. Like this is her after Flesh and Stone coming back to say hello. That was really cool. And just seeing them kind of live their lives, because it just very narratively satisfying when the whole season's been about the fact that they haven't gotten this life together. And they kind of come together as a family bit at the end there, with River's now the Doctor's wife. And Amy's face when she realizes she's the Doctor's mother-in-law is great.
Yeah.
Potentially Karen Gillan's best single piece of acting in Doctor Who is her face when she realizes that. And River just being like, Dad, I think she needs another drink. So good. I like that we do get a chance for them to, have that moment together. Because the next time they have that is when Amy's like, look after the Doctor, I'm going to die now, bye. So, it was cool. And when the whole series has kind of been about the Pond family kind of expanding and growing and kind of forming, because like all four of them are very much connected by the end of series 6. So to kind of end things off with those three all together and the Doctor kind of on his own, was really cool. And I love that little scene very, very much. I think that was kind of all my additional positives. Yes, I think so. So there you go. Lots to love.
I think that's fair enough. I also quite like how it sets up, not necessarily series 7, but at least like the 50th anniversary special. So that's trilogy at the end of series 7. I like how it keeps that open. I like how again, whether or not they knew what they were going to do with it at this time, they might have. It was only a year or so out, so they might have known what they would want to do with it. But I like how it sets it all up. I like how the Doctor's like, well, I'm gonna have to help the Time Lords out at some point, I guess, because nobody else is going to ask me that question. And he's got to mentally prepare for that, and that leads into how he behaves in series 7 and all that kind of thing. Obviously that all sort of hits home when we hit the series 7 finale, I think, where he like breaks down on Clara's sofa. It's like, oh,
this time next series.
John, no. God, madness. Could you imagine?
God, we're so close to Clara.
Oh my God. But I think that's sort of my main one is the additional positive. And again, the supporting cast are all great throughout. Negatives now, as always. What's your first one?
My first one is just in general terms, I wish we could have seen more of things. I think I've kind of put it. You know, I think maybe if this had been an hour, I probably would have been saying, "Oh, the pacing was too long. They dragged it all out because why are we spending time here when they should just be getting on with the plot?" So I'd probably be saying something completely different if it was an hour. But it would have been cool to see different things all happening at once again, like seeing, you know, what were somewhere else in the world, what was going on there, what things from different time periods were there. You know, I don't want to say like, oh, more cameos, because then it's like toxic Marvel fans. But you know, maybe spending a bit more time there would have been fun. But again, it also would have just killed the pacing of the episode. So what can you do? And I think all very well and good River being like, you know, we've been getting like solar flares or something, but they're not solar flares. It's the universe saying, yes, of course, will help. It'd been cool to actually like visually maybe seen that. I guess they had no budget. But I think the idea of that is so good. It's a shame we didn't really get to like properly see something, like even if it was just something in the sky whirling around or whatever. So I don't really know how else they would show it. I think that
my bet for that one is they didn't want to lead into series 5 too much, because that's the series 5 finale.
Yeah, probably.
Ish.
But it would have been cool to kind of maybe explore that idea a bit more and see something from that. But either way, it is what it is. But yeah, all my negatives in this one really are like, oh, I wish they could have maybe done this instead, or I wish we could have seen this in addition. But yeah, that's kind of my main one. I think it would have been nice maybe to have a few moments to just breathe, even though I really liked the pacing of the episode. It would have been maybe nice to see a bit more of this world, just because it's such a cool idea.
Yeah, my first negative is sort of along the same lines as well. I put too much ? It felt like there was too much crammed into the episode, kind of thing. Not necessarily that they shouldn't have put it in, but I feel that I know it breaks from the traditional two-parter, but I feel that it could have been a two-parter in some ways. You could have had the first half be the Doctor being like, right, I need to figure a way to survive this, you know, and whatever, and then maybe not finding it, or at least us not thinking he finds it. So just elongate when he's tracking down the silence and finding stuff out. You can add stuff in. You can spend more time with people. You could give him more of a planet hopping adventure with Mark Gatiss if you wanted to, because it's so all that makeup just for like 2 scenes. I think you could have done a bit more with it, and then have it end on the cliffhanger of River not shooting him, and then go into the next episode, sort of the same way. But then you could then spend more time exploring this world. Maybe he has to track down River in this world to find her, rather than sort of getting bumped along coincidentally. He has to track her down. Then you don't have to worry about having the flashbacks and explaining it all in the episodes. If you sort of split the 2 stories apart and have them as 2 episodes, I think you probably get more of a story. And you can keep the pacing there, because if you put in enough, then whatever. But they wanted to do it in 1 episode, and it mostly works. But I do think that, especially in the sort of the first half an hour, you're like, oh, what's that? What do you mean he's just turned up in his personal mammoth? Why is there a Roman man waiting at some traffic lights? You know, I think you could do a little bit more.
Well, that's Doctor Who.
Well, yeah, no, it's true. But you could just do a little bit more with exploring things. You know, he could have to visit Winston Churchill. He could have to go and see JFK, or maybe even Nixon, and you put him in, and he has to go over there. And you then bring Canton back into it as well, which kind of brings it into the full circle, because he's completely forgotten out of this episode, even though he was invited to the funeral. You know, he's not in this.
Don't cast a supernatural actor.
No, it's true. So you know, I think you could do it a little bit more, and you could, if you just break it out into 2, I think it would work a bit better, similar to series 3's finale, where you've got it all sort of happening in 1, and then there's maybe a little gap or whatever of what's going on, and then you've got to figure it out and find a way to stop it, and then blah blah blah.
Series 3 is my least favorite finale, but yes, I understand.
No, I know. I was saying that, I was like, I know it's not your favorite.
The episode I find really boring for 45 minutes.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing.
I wish I could have done that.
You have more of like he's trying to figure out how he's gonna survive.
Yeah,
but you know, you can keep it as we don't know, because I think especially in this episode, in hindsight, and you know, if I watch this live, I'd be like, well, he's going to use a test lector, isn't he? Why else would he see the test lector if he's not going to? Yeah, that's the obvious thing that you think of. So maybe you could throw in more. Maybe he goes to another flesh factory. Like, why did the silence use this to make? You know, you could throw them all in there, and that way it keeps it a bit more of a mystery as to who was doing what. But
Mm.
budgets. This is the 13th episode.
People hated the gangers.
Yeah, and that, but you wouldn't have known that when they were writing the episode, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think that's sort of my main one is just I wish it was 2 episodes rather than all condensed into one. Or yeah, it could have worked in an hour maybe. I don't know, but
I think an hour would have done. I think I would have probably been a bit bored from part 1 if it was 2 episodes. I think.
Yeah, I think there are things you could do to keep it interesting. But yeah, for sure, I wanted more time basically. But what can you do?
What they should have done is have the Flesh episode not be a 2-parter and make this a 2-parter.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think that would have been that definitely would have been the best of both worlds. In an ideal world, just scrap it. Just scrap Series 6 and just remake it like they're going to remake the sequel Star Wars trilogy, obviously.
Okay, Twitter, let's calm down.
Let's get a petition going for that. Hashtag remake Series 6.
Yeah, officially qualified TV writers on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I mean you wouldn't even have to remake the whole of Series 6. You just need to remake 2 episodes. So I'm sure somebody I'm sure somebody committed could at least cut down the 2-parter into 1 episode. So that's that sorted. Just hire them all back. They're all back for the 60th anniversary anyway. So just
that's true. It is a ganger central.
Yeah,
actually a ganger.
Yeah. Could you imagine what twist? Yes. What is your second negative?
Again, it's more mixed feelings, but the skulls.
I
think they look a bit shit.
Picked off the shelf in a Halloween store.
A bit. It looks very the classic Halloween joke, spirit Halloween thing. And the fact that they get so much focus is like, and when they will turn around and like, oh, I wish they kind of look maybe a bit more realistic. The idea of them like eating people alive and stuff's really cool.
I like that. But I don't like how they've shot that, where it's like slow mo and
yeah,
like,
that was
whatever it is. I'm like,
when they'll turn up and look and like, oh, you're fake
skulls.
So I think the concept of it's really cool. What really bothers me is it's like, well, they're alive when they cut their heads off. That's why the skulls.
Yeah.
Everyone who gets their head cut off is alive when it happens. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I get it. It's probably because it's like an alien world.
It's a Doctor Who. Yeah.
And they're probably
alien heads.
Like in Angel, there's a character who can survive having his head cut off. Like, it could just be like that. But say that that's what it is. I'm just like,
they
what a weird thing.
I don't know.
They kind of say that, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. They would just be dead. They would just be rotting skulls. So like again, visually and stuff, I think it's a really cool idea, and I do like it. Which is kind of why I'm mixing it, because just the very concept of it, I'm like, just explain that. Like, yes, the fact that Dorium hasn't decayed and stuff away, you can just like, well, he's an alien, I guess. He can clearly just survive that. He probably paid for. That's why. He probably paid to get something that can restore him or keep him alive or whatever. He'd have backup plans for his backup plans if he died. But yeah, it's just something about the skulls and that line. It's always kind of really got on my nerves. So I had to just give it a shout out. Really,
I think that's fair enough. And then that comes back to if they had more time to explore this kind of thing, you could have him go to the headless monks themselves, and they can like walk through these things and explain that. Oh yeah, when people come in, we keep their heads, and we make sure.
You sort of, you have to believe in that kind of thing because Jack in the Face of Bo is a thing. So obviously there's something out there for it, but maybe just like make a reference to that or something as a joke.
But canonically, he wasn't. Canonically, he wasn't a headless monk. So I can only assume that the Face of Bo has a tiny body just next to his face. Spoilers for Ant-Man: Quantumania.
I was about to say
Murdoch in Ant-Man, where he's just a big head and like a really tiny body. That's what it is.
Yeah, you just never saw tiny little.
You just never saw.
He just sits on it. It's like crushed into nothing by now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, that's fair enough. My sort of second negative sort of ties into that as well. Not bad production. I put bad green screen, beard, and CGI.
Okay.
I've sort of thrown them all together because I guess it kind of goes into production value, I guess. But some of it is good, the stuff where we get introduced to the world and it shows all the pterodactyls and the flying cars and all that stuff is great.
It's the classic Doctor Who thing where some of it looks really good, but in the same episode something looks terrible.
Yes. So the green screen when the Doctor doesn't get shot and him and River are supposed to be on the beach and they're clearly not there. It's clearly a bad green screen. The beard is clearly just taped to him. It's not as good. It's not as good as the one from the Series 6 opener, I don't think.
Mm.
That's a shame. And then the CGI, mainly when they look up and see the silence on the roof, and it's not great. And then it's sort of with the skulls, kind of look of the CGI. The skulls are the best of the bad CGI, I guess. They look fine.
They can be. They're the charming CGI.
Yes, and I think that might help because of the way it's shot, where he gets sort of eaten and stuff. The way I don't know how they. But then also that in this as well, I don't like how that's shot. It's not quite slow motion. It's kind of like a blur. So I'm not. But then it cuts to the Doctor and he's in like normal speed, like he's not in like slow motion or anything either. So I think that kind of thing is a bit of a strange thing. So I think there's just a few production moments where I'm a bit like, I don't think you needed this, or you could have put in a little bit more money. With the beard, fine. You know, I know that Matt Smith probably either can or doesn't want to grow out a beard for one episode.
I mean, scheduling wise, you know, he's filming 3 episodes at once. It just wouldn't have worked.
No, exactly. And then with the green screen, again, there's not too much you can do unless you film it but then you're at that beach in the first place, so why not just film those scenes at that beach when you were there first of all, instead of having to do the green screen?
Simply add more hours to your shooting schedule days.
Well, yes, it's true, and I know it's costs and stuff, but you know, if you kind of thing where if you're already there, and maybe they did, you know, maybe they were supposed to do it, but then other things overran and other production issues.
Yes, do you remember fun facts about like the post-production scene, because they ran out of daylight, didn't they, for one of the scenes?
There you go.
They set the burning at night. So it's probably
something to do with timing. So it could be that they just didn't get it in time, and they thought, well, screw it, we'll take some pictures and we'll green screen it in. So you know, it's not the worst thing, but you know, when it is with like that amazing shot of the pyramid and the train going in and all that stuff, it kind of then feels
it could have been PNG Weeping Angels.
Well, you're not wrong. It was close with the silence.
My nightmares.
But it wasn't that bad. But yes, so your third negative, what is it?
My third one. I mean, just speaking of the silence, I just wish maybe I guess ties into my third one. Like, I just want to see more of things, but it would have been cool to see them maybe have a more active role in the episode. I mean, I like what we get with them. I do think using them sparingly is why they are so effective, and why they haven't really come back as like a main presence after this era. Is probably why they are still fondly remembered. Ironic, fondly remembered. I didn't even mean to do it that time. I'm sad. But yeah, that's really amused me. Anyway, yeah, I think it would have been maybe fun to see maybe something of them. Like, they had a real sinister edge to them in the opening two-parter. And I feel like they're just there to shoot lasers and electricity in this one more so than anything else. Because
they're cannon fodder, aren't they? Really?
Yeah,
that's what they are.
Very much so. So it would have been cool to maybe get a bit more from them. I'm happy with what we did get. But being as this is the finale and stuff as well, it'd been maybe nice to see something of them. You know, the bit where they like talking and taunting Rory and stuff's great. I wish we kind of had that vindictiveness to them throughout. Maybe prior, maybe they did speak to people while they were locked up, and we got something from that. But it is what it is.
And again, that could be a whole thing where, if it was a two-parter, you could spend more time, you know, with them interrogating a silence to try and think, you know, you could do whatever. My sort of final negative sort of ties into that as well. And while I liked Madame Kavarian in this, I think as a series villain, I don't feel very satisfied with her ending. Well, I'm glad that, you know, Amy got her moment and she dies in this reality. She's still alive in the real reality, isn't she? So she just gives up, I guess. I mean, maybe she remembers getting beaten. She's like, oh, never mind. But surely once she's aware that the Doctor's not actually dead, she would. And I know you could maybe argue that, oh, well, Moffat left before it got to that level again, and so therefore you wouldn't bring her back. But it very much feels like they were like, oh, yeah, we'll kill her in this one and hope people think that she's dead rather than think around it. Because all she really does in this episode is strap to a chair and taunts people. Oh, hello, can you see me? My camera seems to have
you've just disappeared.
Wow, there we go. How strange.
Skype will not take this Kovarian slander.
No, clearly. Oh, they clearly like her. But yeah, I think it was just, again, I like her as a villain. I think she is quite sinister when she appeared, you know, through the slots and in you know, even last episode when she was sort of taunting River about now you're going to thing, and then she's just in a chair and dies. I'm kind of like, oh, I could have done with a bit more. And again,
target novelization. going to be great for her.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, it does come to that. If there was more time, maybe you could have had more time with her, and you could have had a more, maybe the Doctor goes after her when it's real life, and he tracks her down and stops her.
I bet there's a big finish about it.
I mean, there might. To be fair, there might be. I don't know if she's
is.
been in it, but there probably is. But I just think that she's the series arc villain kind of thing. I think there should have been a not a better way, because again, I like how she dies in this reality, but it's when the reality gets undone, she's still alive.
Yeah, closure to like
yes,
the real version.
Yeah, and like if she then appeared in Name of the Doctor as the priestess lady, and she was like the leader of the thing, then maybe that kind of works, because then you could have that be her end point, but then that's how the silence starts. So I think there are different things you could do there, but I just think I just wanted a more rounded end.
She's an absolute mood, because she had a plan, it failed, and she's like, I give up.
Well, yeah. And I mean, that's, fair enough. That's probably what happened, and I'd be like, I'd be too ashamed to ever show myself.
Or there's something on the cutting room floor that we just never got to see.
Yeah, and I mean, because again, you could have any way. River tracks her down at an old age, because why wouldn't you? If you know that that's what it is, you would be like, I can't believe you've done this to me, kind of thing. But I don't know. I mean, it's again, it's not a big thing, because it's fine. That you could argue that it's still open ended. They could still go back and change it if they wanted to, and to do it.
I could see her being in Series 8 if Matt Smith had decided to stay on. I thought he was going to. Yeah, because immediately right now, like she just thinks he's dead. It's kind of like a retroactive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know that in the Series 7 opener, they're like the Dalek wipes them, or Clara wipes them from the Dalek data banks or something like that. So you could argue that maybe she doesn't know, but at some point she would find out, especially when we've got
when he turns up at Trenzalore. He's there for
all that kind of thing. Yeah,
or maybe she's not there at that point because she's going back in time doing all this, I guess.
Yeah, so that's what. That's what I get.
But then from there, Kibari?
Yeah, exactly. But if she just gave up and went, well, it didn't work, never mind, then fair enough. But I think there's just something little you could do there. Yeah, literally. But it's fine. I do like her in this episode. So
it's funny, really, because like she just doesn't want the Time War to start again. It's like
it's
quite a nice thought, really.
Yeah,
but her method is a bit questionable.
Yes, yeah. It's big. If you knew the baby was Hitler, would you kill the baby vibes?
Yeah, it's baby vibes, isn't it?
So it's fine. I like her in this episode. I think I think the moment she has and the snide remarks she makes is great. I want an ending to her story that isn't wiped because they changed the universe.
Yeah.
And if that still ends up with Amy killing her, fine, great, do that. Sure, but who knows? Have you got any other additional negatives?
I just kind of agree with you. I think it would have been nice to maybe have Canton have a little role in this episode as well, kind of bring him back into the fold. But scheduling. Goddamn scheduling.
Yeah. How dare they?
I can't believe it's difficult to make TV shows. It's ridiculous.
And everyone should just stop what they're doing if Doctor Who asks them to be in it.
I agree. I think so. Yeah.
Obviously.
Just quit the role that you were a regular at this point.
Just quit.
God knows how much an episode for.
Just quit Crowley. Yeah, he's fine. He doesn't become a major.
Just quit to have show. 5 minutes in this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet he doesn't like Doctor Who.
No,
he wouldn't quit Supernatural to do this.
But he's not actually English, is he?
Never seen the show before. Oh, not a fan, are they? Like William Hartnell never saw the show before we did this.
Unacceptable, to be honest. My additional negative is just why didn't 11 tell Amy and Rory that he was Robot Man? All three of them were up there on the house by themselves.
The less people that know he's faking his own death, the better.
I know, but River then tells them anyway.
That's why he didn't want River to know. That's why he didn't tell them until he absolutely had to.
No, I know, but at the same point, if you're going to tell her, it's done for the dramatic effect of being like of the name fake out. It's what it's for.
Yeah.
Because they always play into the whole I know his name and stuff. And she does. His name at that point is Tess Elector. It's not the Doctor, is it? So so it's fine. But I just think that they're both stood there. It's literally only the four of them on there. Just say it. It's not going to change the outcome at all. But again, that's a very minor thing where I'm like, you just
Oh.
just have them stay down.
It's more
you know.
people that they could find and torture again. Like, is he still alive?
Yeah, but I mean, as if they wouldn't anyway.
Well, then they wouldn't be able to tell them, would they? If they did.
Yeah,
They just
they-
think,
they
oh well,
die.
he really is dead.
They die,
happy
and then
ending.
the doctor would be he'd feel guilty because they'd be dead in the torture chamber.
When doesn't the doctor feel guilty?
That's true. When he kills 8 billion children or something, he doesn't feel guilty by the 50th
But
anniversary.
did he?
Oh,
No, he froze 8 billion children.
Yeah, much better.
Much better.
Well, they're not
Schrodinger's
frozen; they're
children.
just cut off by everyone else.
Yeah, they're in a bubble
Oh,
universe, whatever else.
They're in a bubble universe.
We'll get there eventually.
Anyway, have you got any other points you want to make before we go on to fun facts?
I don't think so, but I would just like to say, well done, Series 6.
Yes, I
Because
do.
you get a lot of unnecessary stick,
Yeah.
and I'm sick and tired of it.
Yes, I do.
I'm
agree.
12 years older now. I no
Mhm.
longer listen
Feel
to Twitter
shame.
and Doctor Who YouTubers telling me that Doctor Who's bad,
Mhm.
and I think the series is very good.
Yes, I do think so. I mean, Series 6 going into this, I probably wouldn't have said is my top tier season, but I do think it is definitely up there. It's definitely my favorite of the 2 Matt Smiths now, I think, so far.
Oh, that's cool.
We will see how Series 7 goes, because I do know I like a couple of episodes in there. But
if you don't like
there are
Series
also
7, you
some-
don't like fun. I'm just going to say it now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is I like a lot of the episodes in there, but then I also think, oh, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. And I'm like,
I mean, every series has a Journey to the Center
every
of the TARDIS.
series does have a dud, but we'll see if that.
Speaking
one
of duds, next time. No.
Yeah, no, not yet. Your fun facts for the Wedding of River Song.
Yes, indeed. Let's have a look here. I wrote these
Excited.
yesterday, so I've already forgotten them all.
Yes.
Okay. The revelation that the oldest question is Doctor Who is also a joke on the audience, as being the title of the show. It was hidden in plain sight. Ha ha ha! Very funny, very clever.
I was sure got by that. Oh.
I genuinely was at the time. I was like,
Oh,
I mean,
it makes sense.
oh my god. God, this is such a long one. Why did I write all this down? Okay. The episode pays tribute to Nicholas Courtney, who played the Brigadier in the classic series and the Sojin Adventures, who passed away in February 2011, which is 2 months before the series started. The Doctor learns Alistair passed away peacefully in his sleep, which fulfilled a prophecy made by the 7th Doctor in the 1989 story Battlefield. So that's quite nice.
Oh.
A popular story that Nicholas Courtney told at conventions was from filming the 3rd Doctor story Inferno, where he played a parallel universe version of the Brigadier who wore an eye patch. During a take, he swirled around in his chair to see the cast and crew all wearing eye patches, but managed to complete the take without breaking character. In this episode, most of the characters also wear eye patches. Amy also mentions their destination on the train being Cairo, which is where Courtney was born.
Ah, very nice.
Lots of little tributes to him. Wholesome. Meredith Vieira, I think is how you say her name, an American co-host of the US morning news show Today, filmed her cameo while visiting the studios for a Doctor Who segment being filmed for the Today show. Cybermen were included in this segment to make viewers think they were appearing in the finale. But they weren't, idiots.
Ah, got him.
Got him. This is the first series finale of not just the revival, but of Doctor Who as a whole to not be a multi-part story, though it does conclude the story started in the premiere of the season. It's also the first series finale of the revival to not feature a classic villain as the main antagonist. Thank God.
I mean, the Silents are now classic villains, so you could argue.
Now? Not then.
Yeah. No.
Let's have a look. What's the next one? This is the 9th time the actor playing the Doctor has played more than one character in a story. The previous times were William Hartnell in The Chase and The Massacre, Patrick Troughton in The Enemy of the World, Tom Baker in The Android Invasion and Meglos, Peter Davison in Arc of Infinity and The Caves of Androzani, David Tennant in Journey's End, and Matt Smith again in The Almost People prior.
I was like, well, Matt Smith plays the Doctor, and it's like, Tesseract, I suppose. Is it different?
You fool!
Yeah, I was like, yes, fine.
This is get effing chat ready, everyone. This is the last episode to be covered by Doctor Who Confidential before its cancellation. Starting with the following episode, the official website featured short making of videos after each
Boo!
Bring F in the chat, Doctor Confidential.
Bring it back, Russell.
I mean, we're pretty sure something like that's coming back, can't we?
Yeah. Whether it's for the actual show or just for the 60th, don't know. But
or for the website.
But remember, it'll be hosted by Louis Theroux. Everybody, remember that.
That's true. We can get through.
That's definitely who it was.
In the final scene with the Ponds, Amy is seen wearing Rory's jacket from Let's Go Hitler, for you costume fans out there, and it's very wholesome. This is the first series finale of the revival where the final scene isn't in the TARDIS. Yeah, didn't realise that, but it's true.
Yeah, fair enough.
Gantok is credited as being played by actor Rondo Haxton, who doesn't exist. In reality, Mark Gatiss portrayed the character, which is his third in Doctor Who, including voice work, because he voiced Danny Boy in Victory of the Daleks, but went uncredited. Rondo Haxton is a reference to Rondo Hatton, upon whom the character was based. So there you go.
Okay.
Lots of fun facts. He's an actor. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, Mark. Whatever you want. How
It
strange.
was more the visual styles of him, I think. That
Yeah,
it was based on
maybe they had to. Maybe it was too close that they legally had to be like, oh, there we go. That's what it is. Who knows? Lovely, fun facts as always.
Fun.
So now we will rate it. What are you giving it out of 10?
8.5 from me.
Oh, that's a 7 from me.
That's our biggest gap in ages.
It is. It's been a while since we've been that. But
I knew it would be this episode though, because you hate Doctor Who.
Yeah, I do hate Doctor Who. You're not wrong.
You hate my fans, so.
I do. I just hate powerful women as well. So this episode,
yeah,
just
an episode named after a powerful woman. You're really going to dislike it.
Gotta.
You're waiting quite a long time. Put James Corden in it. Different story.
That was another man. All the way up there. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh God.
I mean, I hating on James Corden, but hating on Series 6. Oh, heaven forbid.
Yeah. Acceptable stuff. But no, I did have a fun time. And I do like it. I did like this. It's not my favorite series finale, but it's fine. We all have our favorites. Series 3 isn't your favorite series finale.
That's true.
You know, and I think that the fact that this is one episode kind of makes it an easier series finale if you just want to go and watch a series finale, because you can just put it on and be done in 45 minutes.
That's true. Yeah.
There's that kind of thing. Yeah. But you know, I did like it. I did have a lot of fun. I think they were just, for me, ironically, I wanted more. That's why it's got a low rating, because I just want, if it was a 2-part and we could rate them both, then I think it would be higher.
Then we'd say it was long and boring, probably, because we're Doctor Who.
There is that. Yeah. It depends how it was done. It would have to be done right.
We'll never know. If only there were a parallel universe we could go to.
There is. Yeah, there would be if there's a parallel.
Well, the Doctor's wife was a 13-part story.
There will be one of them as well. Yeah. There'll be one where it's a 14, a 15, a 16. You know, in theory, it's still going. That's been the whole Doctor Who since that episode.
In summary, nowhere near as convoluted a series as people say.
No, I don't think so. I think you know, if you do watch it and you pay attention, I think
you
it's
actually
fine.
watch the show.
Yeah, but I think the issue is a lot of people watched it when they were quite young, so maybe they couldn't quite understand it when they were young, and therefore they think it's always like that, so they've not rewatched it, and they're not, you know, with developed brains, they haven't looked at it and gone, oh, actually,
when they can actually critique Doctor Who.
Yes, but then some people will look at it and go, oh, it's whatever, but yeah, everyone's entitled.
I don't talk to those people, so it's fine.
No, that's fine. But yes, up next, our favorite episode.
Oh heck, I think this is. There's been so many moments since we started this, we'll be like, oh, we're finally here. And I think this is the second time after Love and Monsters, we're like, we're finally here.
Yes.
And so it comes to this.
So next up, if you didn't know, it is the Series 6 or 2011 Christmas special, The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. A play on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Except slightly more depressing.
I mean, maybe.
I've not seen this in a while because I haven't liked it, and it's a Christmas episode. So if I'm watching Christmas specials, this is literally bottom of the pile. I'm hoping we go into this.
Me too. I've legitimately only seen this twice.
Yeah.
Legitimately, and the second time was like probably New Year's Day 2012. It has literally been 11 years. I'm probably gonna love it.
Well, that's it. There's a chance that this might be the best thing. I'm
hoping for A Doctor's Daughter or A Vampires of Venice, and not 42.
Yes. I'm sure there will be things in this that we will like, and there probably will be things that we don't like. I know that there's a nice moment with Amy and Rory and him going to their house for Christmas dinner. I think that's at the end of this one, so that's at least a positive that we've got right there.
Yeah.
The end of the episode. Yeah. There you go. There's another one.
The wooden people look really cool. Bill Bailey.
Well, yeah, Bill Bailey's certainly in it.
He's certainly in it.
But
and you know, I before we even watched Night Terrors, I was shitting on the child actor, and he turned out to be pretty good.
true.
I would be more than happy to be proved wrong again with this one.
Yeah. So open minds for the next one. As much as we've been going, oh, it's gonna be bad. You know,
we have made a running gag of it.
Yeah.
It feels weird that we're actually at the point where oh god, it's the next one to watch.
Yeah, and then it'll be Journey to the Earth soon, and then it'll be Kill the Moon, and then it'll be Forest of the Night, or the other way around, whichever one they are.
That's the one.
Getting there. But yeah, you know, open minds. It could be great, or it could be. It could just be.
As with every episode,
it
could be great. It could be terrible. It could be fun.
You know, we've had bad episodes of Doctor Who. I don't think we've had a truly terrible episode since Fear Her. I think that was the last like truly bad episode where I've gone. I would really not want to watch this at all.
Less than a 5 out of 10.
Kind of yeah, I think it's been like, you know, it has been quite a long time. Yeah, I mean, maybe Beast Below might have been down there, but that was probably more because it was boring than bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a while. And with Series 6 being so good in hindsight, it might make this look worse. And maybe that's why people don't like it in the first place, because they've seen Series 6 and gone, oh yeah, more Doctor Who. It's been so long since we've had it. And then
that's true.
And then they've got to wait another 9 months till the next episode, is it? Because isn't Series 7 split over 2 years?
Yes. I think, did it air like on my birthday or something? One series. Oh no, I think maybe Series 9 started on my birthday. But yes, I do. I remember Asylum of the Daleks starting. I'm like, oh my god, they've played the wrong episode. Jenna Coleman's in this. I generally thought they'd made a transmission mistake.
Oh dear.
Those were the days. Oh, 11 years ago.
When you didn't know what was going to happen next. Oh,
little did I know.
But yes, that will be next week. The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. Unless for some reason they decided to throw out a trailer for the 60th. Unlikely. We are still what?
You never know. It's 8 months away.
Yeah, it is only 8 months away. And they've announced, you know, a new director for the new series, so they might start pumping stuff out soon. We'll have to wait and see. But if not, I am sure we'll be back next week with Christmas.
Ho ho ho!
Christmas,
I mean, it's cold enough
Christmas
already,
at Easter. You know, yeah, it is at the minute. To be fair, Christmas in March. That's when you want it. So everything's cheaper in March, so it's probably much easier to have it in March, to be honest. But
true.
Anyway, let's hope this doesn't ruin our Christmas.
No.
Again. For the second time. It's fine. That'll be it then. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.